All right. So this application that is running, the widgets are so plenty. Okay, widgets are so plenty. Um, it's not just entry widget, label widget, and it depends on what you are doing. Like I said earlier, we have frame widget, check button widget, canvas widget. We also have a menu button widget. Maybe you want to create a menu. You have a menu button widget. We have a message widget, radio button widget. Your application is having a scroll bar. We have a scroll bar widget, text widgets, all of them. They are all widgets. But basically, in application development, entry widgets, text widgets, button widgets, frame widgets are what they use a lot. All right, that's what they use a lot in application development. So what I want to bring in here now, this is just like a login form. I want to bring in the button that we use to what to sign up. So that one is also called widget also. So I'm going to call it btn. My variable is going to be btn equals to remember this application is called with what import ticket turn as what as tk. So I must call that tk first dot my button. So my master is top. That's what I have there. Then what you want to write the text of your button. My text of my button, I want to be something like submit. That's the text I want to have. You can also pass in your bg color, which is going to be your background color. You can call it bg your background. Then I want the background color to be black. Then I want the text color, which is going to be the font color, which is the fg color. I want it to be white. I want it to be white. Now, like we said earlier, this is not going to appear on your application window except you geometry it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to geometry that btn because we're looking at pack btn dot what dot pack. Now I said the pack is placed in 4 dimension. You have your what? You have your top, your left, your right, and your bottom. Okay. So if you don't specify the side like this, you didn't pass in something like top here or right here. Okay. If you don't specify it like that, it's going to be placed by default. So by default, it's going to be placed on the top of your application. All right. So if I run this application now, I should have the submit button close to my application that I have. Another thing you also observe again is that this guy is kissing this. Okay. Now, if you go to that that button widget, you will see other properties you can use to check. So one of the properties you can use to make it come down is something we call pad y and pad what pad x. So the command is here. You pass in your padding, so that what will give you an empty what empty space. So I have pad y, additional padding to what to the button in the vertical what direction. So pad y will give you space to the vertical. Pad x will give you space to the horizontal. So let me see what I can pass here. I'm going to call pad y. All right, I have access to it. Let's say pad y, I gave you something like 30. Pad y, I gave you something like 30, and if look at it. So pad y is to have a space vertically. Then pad x is to have a space horizontally. So if I want to move this button horizontally, I can also call, if you call pad x here, that will be horizontal spacing. Let's say I said on 1000 is too much. Let's say I say 100 and I run this. So what this thing is doing is that it will move horizontal direction, but it's not moving. Let me comment this one out. Let me remove this guy here because the padding y is already there. Pad x. So you can see now pad x 100. Um, let me use value that is going to be awkward. So you can see that I passed 1000, so it's somewhere here. So per dead is moving from here to here. Let me reduce it to 1000. So the button, this thing is not up to 1000. I think the dimension of this our application window is 500 by 700. So that's why I'm not seeing it. So if I say okay, and I want to disable this one here, so let me comment this one out so that we're able to drag it and see where it's located. The button is nowhere to be found. So basically, the PADX is not what you use to space pack geometry. Alright, the pad Y is what you use to space your pack geometry into horizontal, because we have said that it's only top, bottom, and left and right. That's what it does. So let me make this one 20. So if you notice that your button is kissing the other widget, you can pad it to come down. You can increase your button. You can also pass in a property here. You can pass in the width property inside in here also. It will also work fine. So I can say I'm giving this in a width of let's say 50. You can see that I'm not putting those numbers inside the code. The reason is because it is this integer. Sorry, yeah, integer. Integers are not in code. They belong to the integer data type. Now this is just the path geometry. So I'm going to give you guys classwork. You will do it, but you can send the screenshots to me later. That classwork, you are going to use your path geometry to build a registration form. Are you people with me? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we are with you.
Tosi is not coming to class today. So the classwork I want to give you guys is you are going to use this pack geometry to build a registration form. You can get this one, then build your own. You know what you have to collect in the registration form for me. Just do that for me so that I can continue with my class. All right. So the next geometry I will quickly enter is the grid the grid geometry. So I want to create a file here. I'll call it grid.py. Now the grid geometry basically is just like a grid. You know, a grid, a calculator button is in a grid, right? Something like you are building a calculator where you have buttons arranged horizontally and vertically. So that's a grid. Okay. Now basically in the grid geometry, it is arranged in rows and columns. So let's first of all import tick in turn. I wanted to explain other things there. Probably let me import tick in turn. So let's say roots. I'm using roots equals to tick in turn dot tk. There, this one is going to be roots dot please dot main loop. Tosin was saying something on the WhatsApp. He sent me a private WhatsApp, and what he said on the WhatsApp, he said he noticed that in tick in turn you have to import it. The next line of code is to initialize it, while the next one is to trigger it, which is, I said yes, and I said it in a class. You must import it first, then you have to initialize this. This main loop is to make it to appear on the window. So this 4 line of code is very, very essential where you want to trigger the application window. All right. So let's continue. So my master now is root. So is root. So the what I'm going to pass here, I'm going to get the geometry, root.geometry, This one I will make it to be to be big to be big. I'll make it 700 by 800. Then, like we said earlier, for you to shift it to the middle, I'm having a big fat error, but I'm going to figure it out. 300 plus what? 0. So it's supposed to be inside a quote. Alright, so let me see what I'm going to have. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to have is root dot configure to change the background, or config. I'll call the BG color. The background color I'm using for this one is, let me use, now you can also use hexadecimal. I hope you know what hexadecimal is all about, class.
Yeah.
Hexadecimal, something like you have a 6 combination of alphabet. I can say, okay, I want to use my hashtag. This is not hashtag. Yeah, hashtag. I say CC FF CCFFDD. So let's see what this color is going to produce for us. CCFF what DD. So this is the color. So I keep advising. Yes,
Web color. Huh?
sir.
We call. I think we call them web color.
Yes, or hexadecimal color.
Yeah.
I keep advising students that you is better you understand color code. I'm not saying you should go and be cramming the colors. Okay, I don't know if I've explained it to you guys before. I said this hexadecimal color. Let me just opportunity to say something on it. This hexadecimal color is working in pairs, all right, or in parity, all right. So now, hexa means 16 bits. Hexa means 16 bits. So when you get to 10, the computer does not understand 10, all right. The computer understands 10 as A. So when you calculate from A to 15, it's going to be F. All right. So the highest alphabet in hexadecimal is actually F, which is the 16. Okay. Now I said something that is coming in two pair. All right. It means that if I have this one to be FF, then let's say I have this one to be, I have 00, I have 00. The highest bit here, this is still working with the primary color, which is the ROG what? ROGB. So it starts from red, green, and what? And blue, right? So in these two pairs, I have disabled, these two pairs I have disabled green, I have disabled what? Blue. But I make red to be active. So even without looking at what this thing will produce, I should know that my interface will be what? Red.
Right.
Okay. Now, if I omit this one, I turn this guy to 0. All right. Then this one, I turn this one to what? To sorry. I turn this one to pair to FF, meaning I am looking for what? My background will be what? Blue. Okay. Right. Now, if you turn this one to 00, all right, it means 00 is that 6?
Black.
00024. You have what? Black. All right,
Black.
you have black. But by the time you are having, that means you are missing 0 of all the colors, none of red, none of green, and none of what? Blue. So it gives us what? Black. But if you miss the highest value of all the colors, FF,
White.
so this one will give you what? Will give you what? White.
White.
Now you are advised to know the highest and the lowest, because anything that comes from the mixture, like I can also get white if I say FF into 3 place. That's why I said parity. Parity means single. Okay, if I come here, I turn this one to, these two guys to 0, I turn this one to 0, I'll still have red. Okay, I turn this one to what? To 0, I'll still have what? Red. So it's not compulsory that it must be FFF into 16, but just know that they are coming in what? In pairs. If it's not coming in pairs, it's coming in singular, right? Now, if I want to mix this color now, I can say, okay, I want to have less of green and more of red. I don't know what that color will produce, but let's see what I'm going to produce. So less of green, and more of red. It's giving me what? Yellow. Okay,
Yeah.
less of green and more of red. It's giving me the. Let me now add FCC. Let's say I have another this thing. I'm getting what? Pink. I don't know if you understand what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please, it is advisable that you use this hexadecimal because you get a proper professional colors when you are building your application. Remember, your application needs to appear as professional as possible. The former GUI that I built that is having blue everywhere is not actually encouraged. Okay, so try and uh, go to Kulos.co. That's the website link. If you don't know how to combine colors, go to Colors.co. Colors.co will help you to combine what? Colors, so that you not build an application that is fighting himself. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's continue. Let's say I'm using that color. Um my root dot title my root dot title I want to have um this is still login. I'll still call it login. We already know what that will produce, so let me just proceed. Then the label I want to bring in here, I want to explain that concept of Greek geometry. Root dot what do I want to pass here? Resizable. You can see we have plenty methods. Resizable 0 comma 0. Okay, so I have this as my application. There, I want to bring in the grid now. Now, like I said earlier, I think, do they have board in this your Zoom, in this your Microsoft? Do they have board here? They don't
Board.
have board.
Yeah, whiteboard.
They have whiteboard.
But yeah, it's supposed to. So I don't know uh whether you can activate it from.
They don't
Is it
have
not
white.
from room?
They don't have whiteboard. I'm not seeing whiteboard here. But let's not disturb ourselves with that. Let me just use pen so that we'll continue. I hope you can see my
Yeah.
entire screen, sir. Tosin, you're welcome. You're welcome, sir. I hope you can see my entire screen. Oh. I want to launch Paint. Can you see what I launch, sir?
Yeah.
Can you see what I launch?
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the concept of grid. This is a good example of grid. I have something like this. Now, in grid, I said grid is in rows and what? And columns. Okay. Grid is in rows and column, and it starts from what? From 0. It means that this one is a row. This one should be row 0. This one is also row 1. This is another row. Let's say I have what? Row 2. Okay. Then this is a column, right? This one, the first one is column 0, C0, column 1, column 2, column 3. Alright. Now, if I want to place element on my window and I said row 0, column what? 0, the element to be placed the place where the rows and columns, so it will be placed here on your window. If I say row 1, column 0, this will be placed here. If I say row 1, column 1, you are going to see it here. Are you getting it? If you say row 3, so row 2, column 3, row 2, column 3 will come here. Are you getting it? So that is how elements are placed on your grid. So let's bring LBL. I want to define a variable called LBL, label, equals to ticking town, because this is the method I'm using. Ticking town dot label. So my master is what? Is roots. The text I want to have here is still login. I'm going to use grid to build. Let's say login or sign. Let's say login. Let me say login. Login. Then since the background color is hexadecimal color, I'm going to continue using that hexadecimal color. Am I good? FCC. So the BG color, I think black will be okay. Black will be okay on top of pink, Abby. Black will be good on top of pink now.
Yeah.
FG, I'm going to say black. So remember, you need to get the size of whatever you are pasting here, which you call your what? You call it font. That's the option. I use this method. I used one method last class. I want to use another method. You can use this method. You pass in your font name. Let's say I'm using sans serif. Then the next thing you should do is the size of the font that you are bringing. Let's say I want it to be bold, sans serif bold. Okay. Let me use it this way. Sans serif space 14. Space let me say 20. The flag error, we are going to figure it out together. Then the next thing I'm going to look at is I think I'm cool with this. Now for this thing to appear, we say you have to geometry it, and we are looking at the grid geometry. That will be LBL dot grid. That's the name. LBL dot grid. This one you have to pass in the rows and column. Like I said here, I want this thing to be at if I want it to be at, one thing about the grid geometry is this: if you don't have any element inside your property, inside your window, and you try to call this method, it will not be placed in the direction that you are placing it. But by the time you are having like 3 widgets on your window, you'll now be seeing, you'll be getting your alignment proper. So this one now, let's say I want to place it in row 0 column what 2. Abi, I'm placing it in row 0 column what 2. Come back to my code. I'll call my row 0. Then the next thing I'm going to call here column what 2. So if you run the application, I'm having a big fat error. The error I'm having is coming from line what now? Alright, it's coming from that line 7. I knew this one was going to flag error, so let me pass it as a number. Yeah, because of comma. So what do you observe? It is appearing here. Can you hear me? It's raining over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's appearing here. But what did I do? I said it should be on row 0 column what 2. Abi? So I was expecting to be here. But you know that presently I don't have any item on this particular window. But let's see if we can use padding, if that padding is going to work. Let's say I call this pad X. Do I have access to it? I say pad X 20. Let's see what I'm going to have. Now you can see that the padding is moving it, right? So I can now say, okay, move it more to position of 100. So the padding basically is giving it space from this other side. So I can use that one to move it to this side. But know that this part is what? Row 0. I want it to come somewhere what? Here. So I can say, since it's not giving what I want, I can just pass in something like 400, a bigger value. So 300 will be cool for me.
But the middle is our size is 800, so the middle is 400 now.
You said?
The size, the width is not 700.
The width. The width is
Yeah.
700.
So if you want it to be middle, it will not be 350.
Ah, I can't hear you.
I think if you want it to be at the middle, it will not be 350. The padding will be 350.
Yes, 350. What I'm just explaining, I'm letting you know that you use that padding to move it to the where you want to place it. Is it at the middle like this?
I don't think so.
It's not at the middle. So let me leave it out. I think 300 was okay just now. Alright, 300 is cool. Now,
So I want to ask the other 300, what is it for? If you go back to the property, which is the geometry, the 300 is for what?
which one?
The geometry.
The pad X?
No, geometry at row.
Okay, this one Abi,
line.
line 3.
Yeah.
Yes, this
Yeah,
one is for
300.
this. This one is for this thing, the window to shift from here to here. For example, when you run this, remember you're having space here. Initially, it was this appearing here now. So that 300 is to move it to this side of your screen. Then I gave this side 0, so it's moving from here. This guy is not moving. So listen though, the movement is coming from here to here. 0 means what? I make the top not what? Move. Look at it. By the time I pass in value here, and I said this one is 100. If you run it, there will be a space on top. You can see there is a space from here to here. So that other one is vertical. This one is what? Horizontal. Is that understood now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to bold this. I just have to bring it up bold property there. Let me see if I bring it like this, if I'll be in a very good shape. Bold. You are great, yes, you are. So it's not even accepting comma. Alright, this is how it's working. So this one is for the size, this one is for the what? For bold.
Because we are dealing with font.
Yes, I'm dealing with fonts. Okay, now the kind of application that we want to build, we want to have a scenario whereby, let me quickly give you analysis of what I'm going to look at. You know, when we did that of grid, this thing is not big enough. It was difficult for me to put label here, entry widget TRB, for them to be placed side by side. Another label here, another thing you enter here. You know, it was coming like this. For pack, it was coming like this, right? Now that is, the pack is not flexible like that. That's the disadvantage of the pack. Now the question is this: in your application, you can have a mixture of pack and place. Hello, you can have a mixture of pack and place. You cannot have a mixture of pack and grid. We're going to get there. If you want to have a mixture of pack and grid, it means that you'll be creating the word a frame using the word the frame widget. So let me continue, but let me first of all achieve this first. I'm going to get this one a label. Definitely this thing should be 14. So this one should be username. All right. I have to take this one to 1. I have to turn the variable so that it will not conflict the other one. Now, this one is positioned at um column 0, sorry, row 0, column what 2. I want to bring this one down. I can say this one should be row 1, so that it will go down. Row 1, column what 0. Row 1, column 0. I don't want pad, because if I pad it, I don't want this for now. Let me see how the position is going to be first. I'm having row 1, column what 0. What do you observe? It is now. You notice something when I place this guy there. Okay, when I place this guy there, the login shifts. True or false?
Yes, it's true.
The login shifts. So why is the login shifting? Because it is on column 0. This is row 0, column what 2. It's not supposed to shift because I pass in pad X. Because of that pad X. So you can see now that without the pad X, that is giving me the position of what? Column what? 2. I don't know if I'm making any sense here. This is column 1. This side is column 1. Sorry, column 0 is at the edge. Column 1, column what? 2. If I come in here, it will not move until I have more elements on this particular window. I paste it as column 3. You see that it's not moving away from there, but this thing is at column what? 3. Row what? 0. Now what I want to bring in now, I want to bring in the entry widget. Let me say the entry widget is ENT. I have it as ENT equals to, remember you have to first of all call your ticking time dot entry, Abby. You're taking out the entry, then you pass in your master. Our master is what? Is root. I want to just get the width. The width of this, I'm setting it to be 40. So for this guy to appear on my application, I need to geometry. That will be ent dot what? Grid. ent dot grid. ent dot grid. Now, if this guy is in row 1, column what? 0. I mean the label, the LBA1. Are you getting me? I mean the LBA1.
Yes.
If the LBA1 is in row 1, column 0, and I want to place this guy at the same row, but it should go to the other side, I'm going to call row 1. Sorry, it will be row 1. Row 1. I'm going to call column what? The column we have to change. I'm going to call column what? 1. This thing is logical, but I just hope we'll get it. So you can see what I'm having here. This is row 1, column 1. When I place and I have column 1, you notice that this guy moved to its exact what? Position, which is the column what? 3. So I have
assuming
to,
we are not placing. Assuming we are not placing. I say, assuming we are not placing anything, is that the way it's going to be scattering, behaving like that?
Assuming you are not placing anything.
Yes, just that login. Because the login is just moving because the place is empty.
Yes, because it's empty. That's the rigidity of a grid widget. But I can make it back to, I can bring it back to something like 2. So if you bring it back to 2, it will be it will be there. But now the thing is not still properly aligned because alignment is another issue with this their geometry in getting your GUI. So now let's see how we can align it in when you are dealing with something like the grid geometry. So let me quickly give you the options that the grid geometry work with. Dun, 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 dun. So for the grid geometry, we have the following options. The first one we have the what? The anchor. We have the border mode. You can set the height and width. You can set the rail height and rail width. You can set the rails and hope this is not place. This is place. Yeah. For grid we have column span, we have hypad X, hypad Y, pad X, pad Y, row, row span, sticky. Now look at the column. The column is to place it at the column position. Column span, the width of the widget, it represent the what? The number of column up to what? The up to width. Hyperdex, it represent the number of pixels. Okay, to pad.
Are you displaying anything, sir?
No, I'm not writing anything. I'm just explaining something.
Okay, because it's only this that is showing there. Okay.
Yes. So for we also have the pad X and the pad Y. It represents the number of pixels to pad the widget outside the widget border. All right. So if basically I want to move these guys, or let me just get everything that I want first, then I'll move them to the center. So the next thing I want to get here is a password. So permit me to duplicate this. Instead of username, this will become password. So now this label here is on row 1 colon what 0. Okay, this one cannot be on row 1 again. This one is going to be row 2 colon what 0. This one cannot be in row 1 again. This one will be row 2 colon what 1. This thing is confusing though, but you see what I might have now. I have a proper what placement. Let me go back there so that separate these codes. All right, now can you hear me? Somebody want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this LBL1, I'm talking about the grid. You see this one now, this green of this one is in on row 1 colon what 0 abi for that label. Okay, now if this one is on row 1 column 0 and I want the label, which is username and password, to be on the same vertical word direction, I will go to the next row of this one. This will become row 2, the same word column, so they will be positioned on the same column but different word row. Do you get it? So
Yes, sir.
if peradventure now I want to have something like a button again, button is straightforward. I can just come here and say btn equals to tickinter dot the button
Oh, wow. So if you want to bring a date, all those date selection swing, It's the same code we are going to see code them.
You have to code everything. That's why you need to understand your widget. It's not difficult, just understand using your widgets.
I understand. If you are working with graphics, it's sweeter and faster. Okay.
This man with a drag and drop, you just want to fast track your application development. You have to code everything. Oh. So btn button. I have this here. Let me make the width. Then look at another thing I want to do. I want this button now. It should have black. The bg No, the bg should be the same. No, the bg should be black. fg should be white. Now this is what I want to do. I'm not going to have problem with my code, but
Sorry, there's something I observed, sir.
mhm,
Okay, just stay there, sir. Hello, sir. Hey.
okay.
So normally your password supposed to be showing like a hide asterisk. That is
Yes.
the are not showing. Are you going to decorate it from here? Like when you type in, supposed
Yeah.
to be not appear.
Uh, the
Or,
option is you go to your passport your password entry widget. This is the password entry widget, yeah, Abi. You pass in the option. The option there is show. Yeah. Then you pass it in codes. You pass the asterisk there. So if you run this application, whatever you type inside there will be a form of what asterisk. But you know this is a desktop application. Some student will ask you, how do you check and see
uh,
your password? That's one of the common questions I've always encountered in my classes. How do you
yeah,
check? How do you check your password? Wait, you know, web application you can click and see what is inside. Okay, in a desktop application like your Tickintan, they don't have that option for you to be able to check your password. Click and it will bring out what you type there. So the only thing you have to do is to go to your database and check your password. Then you type it there. It will come as in a form of what asterisk. So there's no provision for clicking and showing you what password, except if you want to. It's not default, except you want to add code it yourself using the concept of what function. So if I pass in a function now, I will now say the function name should be when the person press what is inside there, whatever is inside there should turn to the
show,
real, yeah, should turn to the real word
yeah,
text.
visible.
Yeah, it should be visible. So that one is hard coded, but they don't have it say at default in a widget. It will show your password. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So the next thing I'm going to look at now, yeah, I the reason why I brought this was because of something. I want my button to be here. All right. I want my button to be positioned here. Okay. So what will I do? I'm going to look at the measurement of the entry widget. The entry widget here is in row what? Row 2, right? Column what? 1, isn't it? Row 2 column 1. So I will just come here and pass in my btn dot what dot grid. uh Hope I'm good. Btn dot grid. I'll say row, it should be row 3. I'll call row what? Row 3. Then it will be column what? The same column what? Column 1. Row 3 column 1. We place my button after. You can see it now. My button is placed under this text here. Now let me go back here, and this one should be placed at the middle so that this guy, they will be at the same word placement. So how do I bring this one at the middle? You can use either you pad it or you change the value of your column. Where is it? Username. Presently username is in row what? Is in row is in column 0.
So,
Let's say I say column 3, then this one entry, this one is in column 1. I'll say column what 4. Let me see what I will have. You have to be checking your DC because this thing is crazy. So I think it's too far. Column 3 is too much. Let's say this is column what 2, and this one will be column what 3. Okay, I'm close. Let's say this one is column 1. Column 1 should be good for me. Column 1, and this one is column 2. Alright, column 1, column 2. Okay, then let's assume that let me see what I'm having here first. Alright, this is column 1, and this one is row 1 column what 2. So this one, if this one is row 1 column 2, so this other one should be row 2 column row 2. I'm looking at the password now. Row 2 column what 1. So this one will now be row 2 column what 2. So this one will now be row, yeah, this is my BTN now. This should be row 3 column what, row 3 column what 3, row 3 column what 2, row 3 column what 2. So now this is what I have. You can see that you have a better what arrangement, unlike the other guy. The space between here and here is too much. You can reduce it here. You can say this one is 700 by 400. Now this one, now I want to move it back here. I want to move it back here. I can just come here. Where's my login? Let me see. If I gave it pad x to be 0, let me see what it's going to produce. Column 1 should be okay for me now. Column 1 should be okay for me. Row 0 column 1. You're great, yes, yeah. You can see padding now. The padding is shifting everything that I have there. So it's not really advisable for you to be putting your padding. Okay, so let me just leave it like this. Root 0 colon what 3. Now I want to bring in other concepts into this now. Let's assume it that we are not going to talk about submitting to database until we are through with all those geometry. We are not going to bring anything concerning database yet until we are through with the geometry. So now let's assume I'm writing an application. I want this button to be active. I want this button here to be active. Hello, are you people with me?
Yes.
I want this button to be what? To be active.
Please,
Uh,
your password. Your password is it which column?
is what?
Your password, which column? Can you scroll so that I can see the password code?
This is the password.
What I mean, the code for password. The okay, password, yeah, okay. Row 2, column 2, yeah. Okay.
Can I proceed? Question.
Yes, sir.
Any other? Nobody's
Go
having.
ahead.
Okay. Now, I said something when I started this class. I said you cannot combine pack widgets and grid widgets. So since I have a code that has to do with pack, let's say I copy this guy. Mm, there's one widget I need to bring in here. Let me just bring the widget, which is the text widget. So let's say I want to have this here. Label. This one. M will be meant for message. Message. Uh, text. Text M. Text M. Text M. Text M. This one is going to be uh, your your message. Your message is what I'm collecting. Now, the reason why I brought this is because I want to explain. I want to look at another widget called text widgets. So that will make it four abi widget that I've talked about. So the text widget is to accept uh, a multiple write-up like a comprehension or a longer article like I've said earlier. Okay, so what I will do in this case, ticketan.entry ticketan.entry is not going to be entry again. I'm going to call ticketan.text. That's the name. Ticketan.what text. Then this thing will change. This column will what we also change. So let's say if this guy is in row 2 column 1, this one should be row 3 column what 1. Row 3 column what 1. If this one is in row 2 column 2, this one should be row 3 column what 2. So this bit here now will be row 4 column what row 4 column what 2. Now the advantage of this one is you can set your height. The system is slow. System is still coming up. Oh. All right, I'm having a big fat error. It's telling me there is error in the unknown option set shoe. What did I pass there? Line unknown option shoe. Where is it coming from? Mm-mm.
Look at it, line 22,
Oh, yeah,
because you copy the password.
yeah. This widget do not support that shoe. That widget test widget doesn't support that shoe. So I think I need to increase the geometry of this back to 700 by 500.